What he did was, again, Kevin he lies. He gets caught lying. And then he lies again about his original lies. Again, I take you back to 2017 when it came out that he, in 2016, had told House leaders that Donald Trump was on the take, that he was getting money from Vladimir Putin, that Putin was paying Trump and Dana Rohrabacher, in his opinion. And he said, swear to God, I think it's happening. He lied about that. He was shown a transcript. He said the transcript was fake news. Then they played him the tape. Then he said, oh, never mind. Well, despite those words, Donald Trump told the Wall Street Journal Friday his relationship with McCarthy was intact because McCarthy quickly changed his stance. Trump called the quote a big compliment that Republicans who criticized him after January the 6th would still back him. Trump did, however, deny that he told McCarthy that he accepted responsibility for what happened. McCarthy says he spoke to the president after the audio was made public. A person close to Trump tells NBC News McCarthy called to apologize to the former president. The person said Trump isn't really mad. He's got other things on his mind. He accepts Kevin for who he is. Which really says it all. Let's bring in right now founder of the conservative website, The Bulwark, Charlie Sykes. Charlie, we had a good talk on conservatism the other day. Matthew Continetti has a great book on conservatism, talks about where we went wrong. I think you and I probably think we continued to go wrong, maybe a little bit more than Matthew does. But anyway, it's an excellent book on reviewing conservatism. Here, though, part of what we discussed the other day was just lies, that this has become a party that's adopted Putin and Russia's sort of fire hood of falsehoods and is employing it every day. We saw J.D. Vance last night going out, lying through his teeth, just complete lie, once again trashing our FBI, lying about the FBI, saying that they had illegally wiretapped Donald Trump's offices. I mean, it just continues every day. You want Trump support, you've got to trash the military, you've got to trash the FBI, you got to trash the CIA, you've got to trash every American institution that people like you and I hold dear.
Well, and what's interesting about Kevin McCarthy's groveling and lying about this particular incident is the nature of his lie. I mean, think about this, Joe. What he's saying is, no, I didn't really have a moment of decency and principle and duty. I never did anything about it, and I got over it very, very quickly. So not only does he have to continue to lie about it, he has to pretend that one of those brief moments where he had some clarity about what was right and what was wrong needs to be memory hold. So, yes, the Republicans have created an alternative reality. I remember you and I probably discussed this back in 2017 or maybe 2016. And we had a sense that things had gotten bad and that they were going to get worse. Things have gotten much, much worse than I expected, and I was not an optimist back then. It's accelerated because Donald Trump keeps raising the ante, and I think he likes this. I think he likes this as an instrument of humiliation. How far can I push people? What can I get you to say? What can I get you to apologize for? So it's not surprising that we wake up on Monday morning and find that Donald Trump is completely happy to have the next Speaker of the House of Representatives possibly on his knees apologizing to him and acknowledging that he has no political future except by believing and repeating Donald Trump's lies. This is exactly the way Donald Trump wants Republicans to behave right now, and Republicans are more than willing to go along with this.